Gents,
What
welcome
up?
back. Here we are. How's it going?
Here we are.
Life is good. Life is good.
Life is good. Life is good.
It sounds like you guys just have the exact same thing going on. Sam, that mustache, though, that speaks that life might be a little more than
Yeah,
good.
it's coming in, dude. I'll tell you what. I'm not like, I usually have a pretty bad barometer of if my facial hair is good or not. And I was at a gathering with a couple guys I didn't know last night. We were over to dinner at some people's houses. And this guy was like, he's like, yeah, man, like I can't grow like a freaking awesome mustache like you. And I was like, you think my mustache is freaking awesome? Like gas me up a little bit, you know? I've just been doing it, but it is starting to really fill out. So Whitney told me today it looks nice. And when your wife doesn't hate it, it's like,
yeah, that's
why
a
get
big
rid
win.
of it, you know?
Big win. Yeah, men
So
are
there isn't, like,
complimenting
there's
it and wives are tolerating it. That's a big win, man.
Well, there isn't a mustache guy yet in the community, you know, here. And I'm like, I could be that. I could be the mustache guy.
You can be that guy. Mustache and
that's
mullet.
my calling, maybe.
Sam,
Yeah,
do you
I
wanna-
got the mullet.
Yeah, do you want to show that thing off?
I don't know if I can.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's beautiful.
You can see it. It's
It's
got
nice.
a couple more months before it really flourishes, but it's getting there.
That's beautiful.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
Mine's
like
got
it.
a lot of work to do. That's still, but it'll get there. It'll get there, and it'll be beautiful. We'll
Yeah.
share that, and then Brad will get his.
I'm going to eventually
That'll get
figure out what to do with my hair. It'll be great. Well, it's good to be here with you guys, not talking about my hairline, but talking about, well, actually, I love how we came up with the concept for today's episode because we were just like, what is something we can talk about that we would super enjoy talking about that could get to the heart of all the good stuff that modern man represents? And we decided on a hero draft. So maybe a series, we don't know. Could be one episode, could be a ton of episodes. But we're going to do a hero draft where each of us in turn pick one, and we're going to go with football today, a category at each particular episode where we just draft a hero and we tell a little bit about their story, and then we kind of comment, give feedback, provide the peanut gallery for each of the takes. What do you guys think about that?
I love it. How are we going to get this draft order? That's the question.
I know, that's what we got to figure out. But before we figure that out, if this is your first time tuning in, we have been crunching some of the numbers on our end, and we are realizing that many of you who watch don't subscribe. So please subscribe so this message can keep going further, faster. Modern man exists to rediscover and redeem the heart of man in the modern world. We do that through engaging conversations where we have fun with one another, and we talk about things that matter to being the men that we were called to be. So if you want to be a part of that with us, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you can know when all of our good stuff drops. That said, Hero Draft Part 1. Football is the category. I think that's fair, right? Like we'll do, like if you want NFL, college,
Yeah,
you
dude.
kind of like cross the
Pee-wee.
spectrum there.
You ever
Pee-wee,
seen-
dude, if you got someone, is it what the Baby Gronk? I think Baby Gronk is the only
Oh, that could be.
Pee-wee
Yeah, I was
football
thinking
player
more
that I've
like
ever seen.
I was thinking like the fictional realm of life. You ever seen Little Giants before?
Oh,
It's been a minute.
dude. Classic.
It's been a minute.
You have, Brad? You've seen it?
Yes, I feel like I'm in now. Usually when we
This
talk
might be the
movies on
first
here, I'm like,
movie
I haven't.
that you've ever.
Yeah.
I know. I'm
Little
on
Giants
this one.
fan. Dude, Little Giants is such a fun movie, but it's about football,
It is a
and
fun
it's
one.
about it's about a little pee-wee football team in a small town of Urbana, Illinois, which is I don't even think a real town in Illinois. Little Giants is a good one to watch. Anyway,
I do think that determining the draft order in the spirit of Little Giants in football is something that I have not thought through sufficiently. What do you guys think? How do we determine draft order for the hero draft?
I'd be happy to do it right now on ChatGPT if we want.
Oh,
Unless you want to draw sticks.
I like my chances. Throw it in there.
Let's do
Does
it.
Does chat know enough about us? Does chat subscribe?
Maybe. If not, Claude does. Let's see. So Sam, Brad,
I just have a feeling you guys are going to get first draft and you're going to take someone that I've been prepping for, and it's going to be devastating.
Live right now. Create a draft order for us of who goes first. All right. Let's see. Thinking, Claude.
Too slow
5.6
already.
Soul Light. Randomized draft order is Noah, Sam, Brad.
Come
right.
on.
That is hilarious.
Crazy.
It was always
Okay.
anticipated. All right,
Yeah.
boom. Well, I'm going to go first. You guys ready for this?
Noah. Yeah. Hero draft football. Go.
With my pick. This one's going to be controversial, but I have to go for it. I'm going for Tom Brady. Okay. So here's the reason why. He was somebody who was not coming up, was not like the guy. So I appreciate that. Although I hate that school up north where he went there and he came through. He was not the top guy. He was a backup quarterback, fifth rounder, I believe. And the reason I'm going with him is because I'm very impressed at the fact that he just committed to his craft, so much so that he was kind of like, it was his undying thing. Like he committed to it fully with all his heart. I think what I respect in him genuinely is this reality that he completely committed to what he was doing, so much so that he was willing to say no to a lot of other things. Now, we can argue as to whether or not those other things that he said no to, he should have said no to. That's why it's a little controversial. But I think legitimately the reason in which I am very, very impressed by him is because he said no to everything else so that he could say yes to the one North Star that he had in his life. And I think for me, I just have a lot of respect for people that do that. Obviously, like I know what that looks like in an ordered fashion in my life, or at least I'm attempting to get to a place where I truly know that and live that out. But I just think that there's not enough men right now who are willing to actually set aside basically all of their fun things for the one thing. And I think that's why I respect him a lot. If we were to do these across multiple sports, you would always see me picking the guy who kind of died with his squad, like the person who just gave their all to their one team and committed wholeheartedly to their one thing. And against all odds, against every other thing that was coming up in their way, they just completely committed to it. And so for me, that's why I picked Tom Brady for my pick, is because he genuinely is somebody who I'm like, you were unrelenting. You never gave up on the thing that you were trying to accomplish, and you did it better than everybody else ever did it. And so there's a lot, whether Mahomes will pass him or not. I feel confident Mahomes will pass him, but there is something about that you just have to respect in that. It's like this guy turned away everything else in order to focus on his one thing. And if I could replicate that in a healthy way in my life, I think I would be a much better man for it. And I think the world would be in a much better place because of it. That's my first pick.
That's your pick.
I repent for shaking my head as soon as you stated your pick. I think it was just I couldn't deal with the fact that he's from that university that we speak not of here. But I think there's some things there. Sam, I'll let you go first because I think I have too many thoughts to try to get them out in a coherent fashion.
I don't care. I'll say the name. Michigan.
You didn't say that when you lived here,
Iowa
Sam.
Guy.
You used to not say that when you lived in Ohio.
I did appreciate you trying to full send it. I did appreciate that a lot.
I tried to full send it, dude. We could have a conversation about how it's bit me in the butt a couple of times. But anyway, yeah, I think I have a respect for Tom Brady. When I was a poor little 14-year-old kid and I grew up a Chiefs fan and Tom Brady was winning all these Super Bowls, I actually made, my friends and I, we had kind of the legendary block of kids that would live on a street. This is your ideal American neighborhood, kind of like the Sandlot. Brad, I know you've never seen the Sandlot, which is also sad, but it's like that idea of being able to play together, enjoy together, right? I would play quarterback for the team that I was on, and we play in the street. And I made a Tom Brady jersey on a white t-shirt. So I took a t-shirt and sketched out the whole thing, had the Patriots crest on there because I couldn't buy a jersey. So I just made a jersey. And it's actually in my parents' keepsake box that I still have. So I saw it a couple weeks ago. I actually do have a deep admiration for Tom Brady, so much so that my dad was so annoyed with me. He'd why don't you just root for the Patriots then? I'm like, well, I don't want to, but I can admire him because I do admire greatness, to your point, Noah. I think I really hated him when he went to the Buccaneers. I think there was something about that was just kind of annoying to me. He got to a point where the Patriots didn't want him anymore, right? they didn't want to sign him again. Is that what happened? They kind of got to the point where he was a free agent and then either didn't get the money he wanted or he just didn't.
Yeah.
Is that right now?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm fact checking that, but I'm pretty sure it was because they wanted to move on, not because he wanted to move on.
Yeah, he thought he had some time left in the tank, goes to the Bucks, and then wins a Super Bowl with them. Yeah, I mean, I think it's impressive for sure, whatever he did. But I think, and we're talking on the field, so yeah, phenomenal football player. I think it is annoying to see him basically post football as basically just a grown child. I'm like, you're out hooking up with a 28-year-old girl. Your kids act more like friends to you than father to children. Beautiful swimsuit model, and then she wasn't enough, and we broke it off. I don't know. I think there's some stuff about his personal life I don't really care for. But yeah, as far as a champion,
what is it that does that? I don't know. There's something about excellence. Do you think it's embedded in the thing? Like the trade-offs that you make eventually lead you into a place where character gets like that. Anyone that was ever having a draft of like hero football play. I mean, I think everyone probably admired Tom Brady in some way, shape, or form, even if you were like a Jets fan. You probably hated him, but it was hard not to admire him for what he was doing because there was excellence, there was commitment to the craft, everything that you were saying, Noah. I think for me, I'm not going to use the word balance because it's overused, but I am trying to figure out integration in this entire equation. That like I'm all about selling it for what you're after, but not at the expense of everything else falling away. And it's not that I think in Tom Brady's life everything else has fallen away. I don't know if it's a feature or a bug to the trade-off for absolute excellence.
Yeah.
If I'm going to trade off and focus on one thing, is it a feature of that I'm going to break down in other ways, or is it a bug? And is there actually an opportunity? I guess we could talk about that with other players maybe as the draft goes, but
it's one of those things too where you think about like that. I mean, I don't know that I've seen that type of tenacity in somebody other than like Jordan, really. Like there's that, and he had more of a shadow side probably than Tom did. But like you see it manifest in Tom's
Tiger
life, even
Woods is in
outside
that
football.
category, probably, right? Like Tom, Jordan, Tiger.
Yeah, I mean Kobe a little bit, but he fixed his life. But there's an interesting thing there too, because I feel like I see that, and I don't know, maybe it's just like an absolute killer instinct where it's like I'm going to cut you at all costs. But it's like, even you brought up Mahomes earlier. It's like he's got that switch he can turn on where he becomes a killer. Like I mean, watching those highlights of I mean, Brad, when you were in my basement in Minnesota watching the Bills versus Chiefs in the playoff game when they went like, I think
I remember that.
North of 21 points were scored in like less than 90 seconds. There's a switch he can turn on, but then there's a side of him. Like if you ever follow, I don't know if you follow Pat on social media at all, but or his wife, Brittany, it's like, he's like a huge family man, especially in the off season. Like he's always with his kids. He's like with his wife. The facade you see is very much like family priority when he has time for family. And like Brittany had this, and she posted this picture of him going out the door. And it's like these goodbyes are getting harder and harder to say because she's got three kids. They got 3 kids together now. And when he goes, it's like, I'm not really available. I'm locked in. I don't know. It's an interesting thing of like, there's almost kind of like that generation of like killer where it's like kill at all costs. Tom Brady, I mean, I've seen interviews of him where he's like, literally people would not talk to him for like months. Like he would shut off everything. Like no one could get to him. Maybe there's like a new wave of what does it look like to be more integrated and still being able to kind of turn the switch on when you need to, right? Like I think a good man can go out and kill and hunt when he needs to, but he can also provide peace and patience and kindness for his children. It's like the warmth of a father, but then also like the strength of like a warrior type thing that I don't know.
I think on a personal side of things, we can all agree he's not a healthy individual, right? But I think the way I look at it kind of is just through story. Like, is there going to be a story to tell about Tom Brady? 100%. Is there going to be a story to tell about Michael Jordan? 100%. Is there going to be much of a story to tell about LeBron? Not really. Like, not really. What are you going to say? Like, he couldn't pull it off with one team, so he jumped to another team that was really good and won there. And then he jumped to another team. And then I think your best case that you could ever make for him is when he came back to the Cavs. But he's, and he won one there. I'd say that's the highlight of his career. But then like after that, he just jumped to another team. And then what did he do to end his career? He didn't go back home. He went to a random place with the best roster in the league. And like, it's just boring and it's not heroic. And I think the thing is like what I'm inspired by naturally, I'm not as much of a killer as any of these people are, but I think that's why they inspire me is because they just kind of have this like it's the whole conversation we've had here around signal versus noise. Like, he is all signal. He's all signal. Like, Tom Brady is all signal. Michael Jordan, all signal. Elon Musk, all signal. These individuals have this ability to lock in and do something greater than themselves, and it changes the game. Like, everyone plays at a different level because of this individual. Everybody works harder because of this individual. Everybody has to push themselves in a new way because of this individual. And I think that's what's inspiring to me is when somebody becomes the tide that lifts all the boats, and they kind of have to sacrifice everything to become that tide. It's incredible. I don't think 90s basketball is 90s basketball without Michael Jordan. And I think I don't think the decades we saw with Tom Brady, I don't think any of the teams are where they're at without somebody like Tom Brady. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes without Tom Brady. And so when somebody risks everything to lay the standard or to lay the goal that's at the end, I think that's the most inspiring thing ever. And I think when I'm looking at it in that light, I pray that I have that kind of relentless devotion to turn everything else away, to be able to focus on what the one thing is in my life. And I think that's what inspires me. And that's why I picked him. Is he's a guy that there's going to be a story to tell about him. And there's going to be a new record and new aspirations to hit because of somebody who laid it all out like that. In the NBA, I don't know if we'll ever see anyone like that ever again, like a Jordan. I don't. You could argue why that's the case. In the NFL, I think now Mahomes has something to chase because of Tom Brady. And I don't know how hard he would push if it wasn't for somebody that he could beat. So that's why I'm so inspired, is like, not because of the integration, because it's definitely not there. Not because of the character, because in most ways in his life, it's not there. But because of the story of somebody who gave it all. And
set the standard.
That even as a Christian is just like somebody who just gave it all, who had his eyes set like flint, right? Like Jesus Christ, just fully gave it all. That to me is so impressive.
Yeah, and how to do that in our lives, right? Like, I think I think one of the things that I really loved about this opportunity for reflecting on the lives of other individuals is how to be inspired by them, so as to how to take a gold nugget from their life and really let that impact your life. I mean, I'm never going to play any sort of organized football again in my life. I won't. As much as I would want to, I'm not going to. But there's a reality of like, okay, something about Tom Brady, I can take whatever that is and I can put it in my life. I've got all these kind of like different taglines and mantras that I like. One of the ones I've been kind of on recently is from, if you've ever heard of GBRS Group before, it's Global Battlefield Research Solutions. It was founded by a Navy SEAL named DJ Shipley. And their tagline is "Be a pro." So it's like, they're like, whatever thing you're doing, you like be a pro in it. Like whether you're training for tactical stuff, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a student, whatever it is, be a pro in it. And so it's okay, Tom Brady carried that professional mindset, and was willing to burn the boats and willing to say, okay, I'm going to set the standard. I'm going to put in the hours. I'm going to put in the effort. I'm going to put in the energy. I'm going to lock in and focus. It's like, that's a really good push for me. Like I'm thinking, as you're saying all that, Noah, of like, yeah, okay, how could I do that for the organization I work for? Like, how could I be the person, not that like necessarily burns himself out, but like, how can I be the type of person who sets a standard? How can I be that type of person for my family? Like, that's what I want to drive from this. And it's like, yeah, you know what? And as so much as Tom Brady busted his ass for football and made a name for himself, like, I'd love to do that for my family and for the organization I work for. And just, to make a mark on life in that way of how cool would it be if when I die, people think of Sam Halligan and they're like, dude, that guy was like the Tom Brady of life. Like, he lived big, so I think that's what I'm pulling away from it, at least.
Well, you can't ever argue that he didn't leave it all out there. And I think that to me is just incredible. There's something about like the most successful times of leadership that I've experienced or that I have lived out, that meaning by like the most inspiring type of leadership that I've been led by, or the most inspiring type of leadership that I've performed so that others could see, was the leadership where I showed up before everybody and I was the last one to leave. That was the most inspiring, when I showed up before everybody and I was the last one to leave. And I think that type of culture is that's what inspires people. Like when there's somebody who, you know, when everything hits the fan, they're going to carry you out. And they're because they've trained and because they've been in and out. I oversee our customer service team with my organization. And it's amazing because there's not really a culture of like getting to work early and leaving late. That's not really a culture with the leadership of where I work. And it's amazing to watch, like, because I'll sit with my customer service team a lot, like working at the front desk. And it's like, I wish I could have a timestamp for when everybody comes in because it's just random. It's just completely random because there's no standard. And I think in the same way, it's like without a vision, people perish. Without leadership, people perish. It goes back to the rising tide. When you know someone who's like giving it all, it makes you want to wake up earlier than you've ever woken up before. It makes you want to go later than you've ever gone before because you're like, I can't let this person beat me. And if I can become half of what they become by doing what they do, I'm going to do it. And I think that's the thing that like my best seasons of growth have come from when I was around men who I was like, man, I can't sleep in because if I sleep in, they're going to beat me. Man, I can't sleep in because if I sleep in, I might miss something that they have to give me. And that's the kind of person that I want to be, that I fail to be often. But it's almost like if we go back to the shirt singers in the episodes we had, right? He's like, the very thought of this person in their life gets them out of bed in the morning. And sometimes how they talk about like the coaches, the players they coach, they're like, I want the very thought of me to get you out of bed in the morning. And I'm like, that to me is quintessential leadership, where it's like, you just know in the back. And that's happened to me. Like since we've talked to the shirt singers, it's like, gosh, I could sleep in and not lift this morning. But like the very thought that the shirt singers were up 3 hours before I even got up and are grinding draws my heart to grow. And I think that's just like, that's why I picked somebody like Tom Brady, is because like the very thought of him or the very like viewing or experience of him makes you like, you can't help but feel like you want to get better. And so,
with guys like that, you have to do one of two things. You either have to dismiss them or you have to truly face them.
Exactly.
And there's no real way around it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first pick. Sam. Sam is on the
second
clock.
draft. Yeah. With the second pick in the modern man hero draft, I select football player Pat Tillman. Maybe some of you are like, who the hell is Pat Tillman? Well, let me tell you about Pat Tillman, because he's not he's not a Tom Brady. He's not a Patrick Mahomes. He's not a Joe Montana. He's not any of these like superstars, but I think there's something inspirational about him. So I think we've got this, in a really cool way. Tom Brady like brings to mind this kind of like killer instinct, win at all cost. The standard is the standard. For me, Pat Tillman, I think I love because if you're not familiar with him, he was an Arizona State graduate, played safety, defensive safety for Arizona State, became an NFL safety, played for the Arizona Cardinals, and actually was the starting safety for 3 years. So he ended up leaving the NFL in 2002 as kind of like a response to what happened in 2001 with the Twin Towers coming down. So there's this, kind of like evocation of responsibility, of character, of wanting to do something greater than himself. And I think what's amazing to me is this man who really had it all. Like he had a $3.6 million contract that he signed, a 3-year deal, and left in the middle of it, left money on the table. He had a beautiful wife, had security in his job, in all senses, had everything that anyone could ever wish for. Like he had a dream that like hundreds of thousands of kids have thought about. I want to play in the NFL, making a ton of money, like starts in the NFL, like, and really like puts all that aside to go become an Army Ranger, and then goes and serves his country, and then ends up dying on the battlefield pretty tragically. So he died in 2004. But there's this, I think for me, the reason why Pat Tillman's so inspirational is because that reality of being somebody who was able to see everything that the world offers and say, I want to give my life up for something sacrificial. It's kind of a cool juxtaposition if you can think about it, of like, okay, Tom Brady over here, like in a good way, like searching for success, but then this person who's like, I've actually seen success, and like, there's something greater in life than making a ton of money. There's actually something greater in life than traveling the world. There's actually something greater in life than having my name on the back of people's jerseys. And I think it's something inspirational too, because he, I don't think it's any secret, but I'm very patriotic. I think the three of us are very patriotic individuals. There's something really cool about this choice of being able to lay down his life for his country, being able to lay down his life sacrificially, and to serve the country from a place not of need. But there's something really special about the fact that like he literally didn't need to, like he didn't have to do any of this. It was like guy's completely set for life, like generational wealth. And it's like, I'm actually going to leave this career and I'm going to go to Iraq and I'm going to go serve the country. So I don't know. I think all of us are going to be like, yeah, that's a good pick. But it's really hard to argue with that guy. But there's something powerful about that. I think when I think about heroes within football, I'm like, man, that's pretty damn awesome. Like if I could live my life in such a way where it's so sacrificial, and it'd be powerful. So pretty sweet.
Yeah. No, I love that juxtaposition. Like you said, I think there's these nuggets that we can take out of people's life, and without a doubt, Tillman's level of sacrifice. It's really interesting. I've only seen my dad wear 2 jerseys in my entire life. One is Pat Tillman, and the other is Joe Burrow because he's from Southeast Ohio. And I remember after Pat Tillman died, my dad never asks for gifts when we ask him for it, like he's always like, whatever you guys get me. And that year we asked him what he wanted, and he said a Pat Tillman jersey, because there was something he saw in that story too about the meaning of life and what it means to be the man we were called to be. Tom Brady's setting the standard for excellence and going where no one's gone before, and Pat's setting the standard of excellence in doing the thing that he felt was was the greatest need for what he could bring to the table, and that sacrifice is pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, and I think it's also just so unforgettable. I think I remember exactly where I was sitting when the Pat Tillman story got released on Outside the Lines, like ESPN Outside the Lines. I can remember exactly where I was sitting, and I remember listening to it, and it's just an unforgettable story, right? Because it's not something people do. And I think that's just the coolest thing about his story is it's just like you gave it all for the sake of the other, and you didn't have to. Like Sam, I think that was the best point you made. Is like, again, this guy wasn't like he wasn't making the league minimum, right? Like he wasn't a guy that had no future ahead of him. Like he saw the other and said, I'm going to go and serve the other, and I'm going to kind of leave everything that I've ever wanted, because there's something out there that's bigger than me that's worth being served. And I think that, again, like you don't forget those stories. I was a young kid and being like, wow, there's something there. And that's an unforgettable moment. And so that's a great pick. No,
early 2005.
Yeah. That's so. I mean, think about that. That's 21 years ago. I'm a little kid, and I'm watching ESPN like all day long, and like that's a story I'll never forget. So it's a great pick. It's an unforgettable story. It's an unforgettable moment. And yeah, you're not gonna get any fun pushback on that one. So
yeah,
there is an attachment there to Tom Brady though, and what you were saying. No, I hadn't thought about it. In just doing what people don't do. Right? There's something to the life of a man where we're called to do the thing that is uncommon amongst common people. That
don't live an ordinary life.
Yeah. And if you're going to go all in for something, go all in for it. If your heart's bleeding for something and you think you should respond to it, respond to it. There's something to that call outside of yourself. It's going to take, well, I mean, in this case, it literally took the entirety of his life.
Another through line here is just like the fear of missing out did not exist in these people's lives. Like they had to say no to so many things. Like what they were saying yes to, everyone else wanted to miss out on. Just think about that. Like Pat Tillman going to Iraq or Afghanistan, no one else wanted to do that. That's not a thing anyone wants to do. No one wanted to, like everyone wanted to miss out on that situation.
It's an uncommon
Tom Brady's
response. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Tom Brady's sleepless nights, Tom Brady's grind, his work ethic. nobody wants to show up and do that. They want to go out and hang out with people. And for me, I'm a natural person who just loves to hang out with people. Like, I love to spend my time hanging out with people. And if given the ultimate choice on a Saturday or any weeknight or probably any time and any day, I want to go play sports and hang out with people. That's what I want to do. But that doesn't advance my life at all in any real way. And but Alex Hormozy recently said this. He said, it's never been easier to be successful. And for a lot of people, because of that, that keeps them from being successful because they're afraid. But what a lot of those people don't realize is that, and I'm probably like butchering the quote, but it's something to this degree, that simply put, it's never been easier to be successful, and it's never been easier to absolutely do nothing. And so there's so many people in this world like that are afraid to go and work and be successful because they think it's too competitive. But what they don't realize is that because for the same reason it's so easy to be successful, it's so easy to sit on your couch and never leave. And I think that just relates here so well, because it's like, man, there's going to be the few that actually step up and step into the gap and step into the trenches and do the hard thing and push themselves and lift themselves to the next level. And so these men are the ones that do it. So anyways, it excites me a lot. I love it.
Yeah. Sam, any final thoughts on Pat Tillman?
Not really. No greater gift than to lay down one's life for a friend. So if you're, we're not all going to die on the battlefield, but we can give of our lives sacrificially to the causes at hand.
Hero draft, the final pick in the football edition of the hero draft. I actually struggled with this some. You guys are probably like, that's predictable, dude. Because I ran down all these rabbit holes. I was thinking, like, Barry Sanders, amazing. Said no to continuing when he felt like he was called out. Like the courage to do that and to like make a stand, but then also to serve the city that you were still in before my time. But you hear all these amazing things about Steve Young, right? You hear all these amazing things about Walter Payton, like just the men that they were. I just never got to see them in that light. So I was thinking, I want to go with someone who I have a history with, who I appreciated growing up, who I watched and cheered for and celebrated. I was between Drew Brees and then the guy that I actually chose. And I think that I rooted for both Drew and the guy that I'm about to mention because of how rounded they were. So I do think it's going to throw a little bit of a wrench in this, because I do like the concept of going after something, and I do like the concept of laying your life down. Obviously, I think we would all agree to that. There was something about Drew and the guy that I'm about to mention who I just felt like their lives were rounded in the sense that all of the things that bring like animation to our lives were engaged with by these guys. The guy I'm choosing is Peyton Manning. And I'm choosing Peyton Manning because Peyton played at, and you guys know this, the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. He is the son to an NFL legend. And so he could have just coasted by. Like, the reality is he was going to get a Division I scholarship. He was going to go to the NFL. He could have just had an average career where he was paid well. He had no reason to prep the way that he prepped throughout his career. He had no reason to show up every day, but he chose not to ride off like into the sunset based on his name. He chose to show up and work hard every day. And I really admired that. And he stayed with the Colts for a really long time through thick and thin. He was there before they had Marvin Harrison at his peak. And then when he had Marvin Harrison at his peak. And then when you bring in Reggie Wayne and like these other assets that he had alongside him, I really admire that. Not only that, but you could see there's a famous clip of him with Jeff Saturday, his Hall of Fame center, where Saturday is just like complaining a little bit, and Peyton just goes right after him. This like usually mild-mannered, pretty good at joking and laughing things off, not taking things seriously that don't need to be taken too seriously, but all about business when it needed to be about business. And he just stood in the gap and actually didn't allow the language around him to pull him into it, but rather he took a stand. When he was in the NFL, most of the men in the NFL towards who their role models were, who were playing in the league, Peyton Manning would have been one of the most common names written down. And it was because he prepared. It was because he was a competitor who put it on the field when it was time to be on the field. And he was super approachable in the rest of his life. And with his wife was incredibly generous. So generous that you have the Peyton Manning Children's Hospital in Indianapolis. He gave an undisclosed amount of money that allowed them to expand that hospital so substantially that they renamed it after him. And last point, him riding off into the sunset with the Broncos is an epic end to a story. It's an epic end to a story because, in all honesty, his last Super Bowl was a lot like Tom Brady's first couple. He had an amazing defense. They needed a leader, and they needed someone that believed and was going to compete all the way till the last whistle, right? Like, allow the defense to do what the defense does best, and offensively don't make the critical mistake and lead with confidence. And just to end your career that way is spectacular. And he was able to end his career that way without throwing it into the Colts' face. I loved the whole thing. I rooted for him all throughout my life growing up. I would regularly root for him in his games against Tom Brady, of which he lost more than he won, fair enough. And I definitely rooted for him against Aaron Rodgers. So there's my general.
I hated
draft
him
pick.
when he played. I hated him. Hated him so much. Like Josh Allen today. But no, it's a good take, Brad. It is. I mean, I think objectively, if I can take a step back from and part of why I hated him, I think, was because, I mean, the Chiefs were in the AFC West. I think I also just liked excellence. So I liked seeing Tom Brady win year after year. But there's an element of like, yeah, he's a good dude. Like, he was a really good dude. And yeah, I think it wasn't until I matured and be able to take a step back from and to understand football. There's just an element of like, I didn't care for him. But it's cool to be able to see the character, which I think is what you're speaking to of, yeah, he's not divorced. He's a good father.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, just the generosity piece. Like he really had that whole idea of like, if you live like no one else now, like you can live and give like no one else later. And he lived like no one else in that sense of both on the field and off the field. And I do love the commitment side of things, even though talk about the Broncos. I freaking hate the Broncos with a passion. The Broncos are like the Michigan in my life. I hate the Broncos.
Hey,
I hate them.
Yeah,
But
we're on the same wavelength now.
Yeah,
you're in deep entrenched disgust for a team. I like that. That I'm seeing.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my response to you, Brad. I think I'm with you. He's a good dude.
I tried to build the strongest case I could.
Seems like you kind of got lost there with hating the Broncos. You kind of lost your point after that. But
yeah, no, I just despise the Broncos. And Bo Nix is just like,
yeah, I'm a Bo Nix
punch
fan.
you in the face. You're a Bo Nix fan.
I actually had in my mind that Noah would be a Bo Nix fan.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't like Bo Nix either, but
he did damage for my fantasy team, so that's a huge piece of it. But
yeah, for sure.
I think that was such a just a quick aside. I think it was the biggest load of BS that they were like, oh yeah, he totally hurt his foot celebrating in the locker room or something. Do you remember that? Like when
I do remember that.
Oh, he hurt it on the third play of like the second drive. I'm like, bullshit. Didn't happen.
I love it. Well,
football's about to happen. I'm excited.
I'm pumped too. But no, I think the best point there is just Peyton. What inspired me is just the reality that he came from success. People love the story of rags to riches, but I think coming from wealth and success and capitalizing on it and multiplying it is more impressive to me. Like people forget the name Arch Manning because of Peyton Manning. And that's just like a hard thing to do. That's a very difficult thing to do for your dad, who's a great player, like was a great quarterback, to be almost kind of like in your shadow now because you took the gifts that you were given and you multiplied them. That is just a rare, you don't see that. You truthfully don't see that. And so I think him just being able to capitalize and multiply is what's most inspiring about his story. They have a harder time than everybody else because everyone looks at them and you're like, you were given everything. And when they're like, yeah, I was given everything. And you know what I did with being given everything? I made more out of it. And that's just, that to me is kind of the most inspiring story, I think.
Here's a hot take too. I do tend to, in my personality, I really like the guy who comes in at number 2 but keeps pushing. Like isn't afraid of who's become the best. So I generally like Hakeem Olajuwon, like big fan. And I think it's because when you've mastered your craft and you're number one, there's still a cost to showing up. There's no question. I'm not going to diminish people like Jordan and Brady, and like there's just no question. But when you're routinely coming in, I think about this in the Olympics a lot, actually. You'll like see people and they'll list out their medals. And the guys that are running the 100-meter dash that have gotten silver 3 times. It's like, why are you coming back? Why are you going back to the Olympics? You know, and then you got the Michael Phelps who have amazing stories. You have the Usain Bolt, amazing story. And we should be inspired by that. So please don't hear me giving like a take that we shouldn't be admiring the one. But I do think the guy that's still showing up when the other guy is at the pinnacle of his success is impressive to me, because it shows a commitment and, in my opinion, a fearlessness of showing up to the guy who has been at the pinnacle.
That's why you love LeBron, because he just keeps coming in second and he just keeps showing up. He won't actually stop showing up. He just keeps playing. So
that's why I love Steph Curry. He's the second best of the generation. It's great. It's great. I do love Steph, though. That's actually not. It's not that. I'm just anticipating some people listening to this and getting mad at me that Steph has won as many championships as LeBron. But we sometimes forget that Kevin Durant was on those teams too. And if LeBron and Kevin Durant had championships, I'd be hearing for days that it doesn't count. But it doesn't matter. We're going to stay on football. Do you guys agree with that? You guys don't even have to agree with that. I think that is an area where we probably rub in life some. But I do generally like the constant steadiness of the person who's getting after it, even if they're not in the driver's seat.
For sure. I think it's one of those things where it's like I just start to feel bad for them. Like it's less of an admiration and more of like you're just like a sad little puppy. Like it's how I feel like anytime.
You pity them?
Well, I pity them because when they're given the chance to do something, more often than not, they piss it down their leg. So like Josh Allen, I was the biggest Josh Allen fan this past postseason because I'm like, dude, Mahomes is out. Like you have no clear path to win a Super Bowl. You're like, then now, like seize the day and do it. And the fact that he could not, you just could not close the gap. And I'm like, you are, I know there's a lot of facets to football, like your defense, your offensive line, your receivers. But I'm like, for all intents and purposes, phenomenal team, the Bills were, and just got absolutely annihilated. And it's like, dude, like your window's closed. So I think it's guys like that where I'm like, yeah, there's an admiration of like, what are you going to do? Like go sell insurance? Probably not. Like you're going to go play football because you're getting paid to do it. You're good at it. You're probably never going to win a championship though. I think it's just one of those things where I'm like, yeah, you're doing what most people would probably do. There's an element of like,
fair enough.
You're just, yeah, I don't know.
Right. Rising above the fray is like, it just takes another step. And again, you can make arguments in a team sport like football that it has more to do with. Now, I mean, this past postseason, that was completely Josh Allen's fault. No question. No ands if or but. That's one of the few times where you can look at a game and be like, that's his fault.
Though.
Yeah. But I think you can make an argument though that like in football, it's a team sport and it's almost the star in football, and I would argue a lot of times in basketball, is the general manager. It's the team. Really the team owner. If the team owner is going to hire a good general manager and they get after it and bring in the right players and build the right team. But, and so I think that's kind of the person that actually is worth the conversation in that. But yeah, I think there is a level that you have to get to rise above the fray and get to first. And yeah, I think it is sad sometimes when you see that second person just constantly getting in second and almost self-sabotaging themselves all the time, like a Josh Allen.
Or Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. And make this with Josh. I just think there's a fine line between I guess this is my thing, is when we make mistakes, how do we respond? I think that's probably what the like through line is for me. Yeah. And I don't even know if it's just generally mistakes, but when we make mistakes or when we fall short, what's your next move? Are you going to show up tomorrow? I was thinking about that in high school. We were in my junior year of baseball. Like we were upset pretty early in the season, and I was going into summer ball, and I just remember having this like sour taste in my mouth. Like, man, we gave a lot for that and then fell short. And I remember one of the seniors that was on our team who was going to play in the summer before potentially playing college ball. Just the next day showing up and like we had a couple guys that were just throwing long toss. And I remember just admiring him so much, because it's like there's no reason, like your career's over, actually. And to show up and to still put it, I'm like, there's something about what do you do after the moment doesn't turn out the way you would have desired. Because that's the other thing that I can't stand about sports broadcasting. Obviously, I was in sports broadcasting for a while, but when people say things like they just don't want to win, what are you talking about? You like, that is the worst take ever. If what you're saying is they didn't have the mental makeup to get through the roadblocks that were standing in their way for victory, I guess you have free reign to go there. But to say like, you know what, I just really don't think they wanted it. Okay. I think that that's usually not the case at the highest level. There's probably some nonchalant guys who might be able to prove me wrong there. But anyway, those are my parting thoughts.
Yeah. It's a good conversation to have. It's also, I mean, you talk about anything that's going to get me riled up, it's the NFL.
Do you guys have any honorable mentions? I gave a bunch of honorable mentions. If you didn't, that's okay. I also had Phillip Rivers in my mind. I had some.
I had the people on there that were just like people of character. So I didn't go like, these absolute stars. I had basically Steve Gleason was another person I was thinking of who is a kicker for the Saints and has ALS and is just like been in such a beautiful witness of how to suffer well through life. Wow, this is like a Job moment. Had everything and then just snatched away, taken away. I mean, the dude's like bound to a wheelchair. Yeah. Yep. Derek Thomas was another one that I had on my mind. That would have been one. Maybe many people don't know who Derek Thomas is, but that was a big Chiefs fan. He was on his way to a playoff game and was killed in a car on the way to the airport. Walter Payton type figure for the Chiefs, like very philanthropic to the city of Kansas City, like the heart and soul of the team. And just was like an excellent leader, and then just died tragically. But yeah, those were the two guys that I had in my mind outside of my boy Pat Tillman.
Yeah,
I had Maurice Clarett for the similar reason, Brad. Just which I went college ball. He played a little NFL ball, but just made a lot of stupid mistakes and is now trying to help people. I think,
dude,
the ability to bounce
guns
back
with Maurice Clarett.
Yeah,
at a range, not like
at a range.
Let's just clarify there.
No, bro. No,
very. It was hyper legal.
It was clay pigeons.
I did think about Michael Vick in the same sense, Noah. Because,
Michael Vick would have been a good one, actually.
Like people make mistakes, and then how do you respond to it? I think there is something to that. Well, that actually might be a good place to end. Is what exactly, as we think through if we're going to continue series like this, is there anything that we haven't said that you think makes up a hero? Like when you guys were first thinking, who's a hero of mine? Sounds like Noah, it's like there was an all-inness and a hyperfixation on the one thing. And Sam, obviously the sacrificial side. For me, it was the integrated life, like the integration of all facets of life.
To me, it's kind of like, if you can think of, if anybody's ever played the game, Settlers of Catan, you can't just build your settlement on a sheep, like the sheep port or like the ore port. Like you need access to port, lumber, brick. Like you need to build a deck. You need to be able to build a hand that can consistently win, build the victory points, and ultimately win the game. And I think that's why I love that game so much, because it's truly a game of strategy of how do you build a winning hand that then can advance your kingdom, if you will, to winning. And I think of this a lot like that. I'm trading cards. Like Judah's getting into Pokemon right now, which is kind of annoying. I don't really like Pokemon, but he's like, people keep giving him Pokemon cards. I'm like, freaking stop giving him Pokemon cards. But it's like that idea of if you like, you're building a deck. Like, okay, I'm sitting over here listening to Noah. It's like, yeah, you're right. Okay, I probably need to like build strategy into my life of how I'm going to like hold the standard, be a pro in my life. Okay, Brad's talking about like the willingness to be able to endure for a good amount of time, and then to be able to see this commitment come to fruition of winning. And with me with
Tillman, it's like Pokemon cards are awesome, is what Jack says. But just like that, I think how do I build a winning hand with my life is kind of what I'm getting from this. And that's why I think ultimately these stories of heroes are so important, because it's not like you're not going to find really one person outside of the person of Jesus Christ that is like, that is the person that I want to model everything in my life after. It's like you see these shining attributes of like that carries the heart of God in a powerful way. If I can take that piece of Tom Brady and put it here, I can take the best part of Tom Brady and make it a really good part of me. And same with all these other individuals.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. What does it say about what we value? Like, I think that's a huge piece to all of this. Like, I was just thinking about that. I'm like, yeah, what is it? Like, the reason I love people like Tom Brady is because I have a hard time getting behind anyone who doesn't give it their all, and who not only doesn't give it their all, but like they're giving their all and they show up when they say they're going to, they're like, I'm going to go do this. And then they actually go and do it. And I think that to me is like the most inspiring thing. And it's my number one value. And so I think even just like, if we continue this series, I think it's like, you're going to see a list of people who gave absolutely everything and legitimately, like, they said they were going to show up and they did. They said they were going to win this game and they did. They said they were going to show up and hit the last shot and they did. And I think that's, to me, that's always going to be my number one value above everything else. And I think like I just have a hard time being a part of anything where I feel like it's not an all-in culture. Like if it's not an all-in culture, I just get super bored. And then if it's a lot of people who are saying they're going to do something, they're not doing it, I just get super disenchanted and disengaged. People would look back and say, wow, he was wholly devoted. And he not only did he say he was going to do it, but he actually showed up and did it. The best part of that series is that it ends with a guy who hit the game-winning shot in the last season he knew he was going to have with that team. That's just so inspiring. Like, he said he was going to set out, this was the last season, and what does he do? In the final game, he hits the final shot to win his final championship in his final season. It's like, it doesn't get any sweeter.
Yeah, you can't make that up, yeah.
No, it's like, it's the best story.
Well, it's like the Peyton Manning thing. Yeah, it's like being able to win and go out on top, you know.
Exactly. What do each of the people that we put on this list say about us? I think it shows our values, and for me, that's such an important value, and so my whole list is going to be that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I tend to favor integration and resilience and heroes that show that in different ways. And it's funny because I think, like you were saying, Sam, many of my heroes, I'm thinking to myself, it's not necessarily that I would want to be them. It's that they have elements that I would really, really desire to make me the best version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's as we explore more and more who we're called to be as men, it's good to have those people that call us higher, and also those people who show us how to best use the gifts we feel like we've been given, you know? So
yeah,
that's good stuff. Hero draft.
Amen.
Football edition. I enjoyed it. Good to debate a little bit, specifically around Tom Brady. I know that my choice of Peyton Manning was the best one.
Somebody's kind of like a vanilla pick too. I'm like, I could have probably picked somebody who was like, you know.
I kind of like it. I do think, to Noah's point, it's a value thing. I think it's probably a vanilla pick because if anybody knows Sam, he's probably going with Pat Tillman. But I think that if anybody knows me, it's going to be someone who connects to all the things. And if anyone knows Noah, it's someone that's all in, that's for sure. Well, good to spend some time, gents. See you guys next week, yeah?
Later. See you next week.